All right, welcome back. Welcome back to Know with Sam. My name is Samuel Osita once more. I'm just going to talk about grabbing opportunities in a positive way. Many a times in our lives, opportunities will come by. What makes the difference in us is the instinct that you display in grabbing those opportunities, respectfully, of course. So I'm going to share just one of them. There are a couple of opportunities that came by me. One was about a property I wasn't ready for, but the effort that you make is what I'll talk about that another time. Time and chance, they say, happens to all. Many a time we see a rich guy and we say that guy is rich because he's lucky. No, he's not rich because he's lucky. It takes time and chance. Many people will give them opportunities, they don't take it. During the COVID, I was watching CNN, and in fact, the first 2 days of COVID, I was watching CNN and I saw that they were talking about sanitizer. And that's the topic of the I'm going to talk about. How I made about 23 million naira in 8 weeks. We were talking about that, and I knew that COVID was spreading faster than anything. They've not put any embargo. It started from China, America, then Nigeria. And immediately they were talking about sanitizer. I knew that we're going to need sanitizer. So I went into a supermarket, I asked for sanitizer. Nobody had. I was asked to use alcohol to touch your hands, do all that. Fine, alcohol works. And I asked myself, how do I get a sanitizer to know what they're even talking about and what it's made of? So I went to, I think Met Plus One in Victoria Land, and I got a sample of a hand sanitizer and I took it to a chemist. A chemist, not a drugstore, a chemist, a chemical person. And I told him, what are the composition of this? And we found out that it contains ethanol, isopropyl, and there's something called carbopol that they used to thicken it. I said, good. Now the next is NAFDAC. And we formulated one, myself and this chemist. We did everything in a week. We got the formula, we took it to NAFDAC. Then NAFDAC, due to the issue coming up, NAFDAC was given emergency and express. Now, but though you still have to look at your premises. So that was how we went into production of hand sanitizer. Before most people started doing it, the people all over Lagos, at the time it became a madness. In fact, by the time it was already madness, I've left the business. I'm talking about the first 8 weeks of COVID was when I came. So the sanitizer thing went on for months. It was the first 8 weeks, I was among the first. And why am I saying that? It's about smelling opportunities. So what I did with the NAFDAC number, we went into production. And we first did a drum. Then a drum was we used to buy a drum for, 45,000 naira of fully mixed sanitizer. And by the time we sold it, we were making about maybe 195,000 naira from each drum. And that we did the first one, we packaged it went in a day. We did the second one that we sent to Port Harcourt, we sent to Aba, we sent one to Ibadan. And they were mopping it. At the time, at the peak of our sales, there was a time we were doing about 19 drums every 3 days. And I'm not talking about small 200-liter drums. So from there, we distilled with our brand name, Clean Shield. You can still check it. Our NAFDAC number is still there. We still have our NAFDAC number, but we've scaled it down to production of FMCG, which led us into FMCG. A business of FMCG means fast-moving consumer goods. Hand soap, air freshener, those things. We went into that, So, but there's a lot of depth in that business. But I'm just trying to talk about the sanitizer business. So when I did this thing and we sent it to a supermarket, so I left, the driver took it to a supermarket, and as the driver was coming back, just driving into the premise, they called him to bring ×2. We took about 6 cartons, and in each carton we had about 12. Immediately he came there, he told him to bring ×2, so if you bring 12 cartons. As it got there, they were mopping it out. They were mopping it out. Now, then, face mask has not started coming. If you remember, face mask was not in Nigeria then. So, as we're struggling, UBA pharma, just think of all the pharmacies in Lekki. They were all buying hand sanitizer before the people started having the pandemic and all that. But the key point in this is about reading your environment. As we're doing that, I heard that people started using face masks. Now, nurses, surgical doctors normally use face masks. But we now notice that the demand for it in China and America has increased. I saw some point that they were mopping it up. I knew I was going to come here. So what did we do? We went to Lagos Island and go and look for this face mask where they import them from, inside Lagos Island. And we chatted. So what am I trying to say? You have to take risk. Now, there's no evidence. What is faith? Faith is believing on what has not happened before. So imagine us investing as much as 250,000 naira to a face mask, and then you are selling one, maybe 1,000 naira for the whole stuff, and you bought 250,000 naira worth. Guess what? A week later, all those were sold in a day during COVID. In a day. Next one, we went to, and the time they wiped it all out, we couldn't even get the paper one. We were the pioneers and started doing the cloth ones. So we went into the production of the cloth ones. The essence of what I'm just trying to say is this: time and chance happens to all. It's what do we do with them? Opportunities will always come. It's for you to be prepared to grab it from the universe. It circles, it goes. So during that COVID, just the first 8 weeks, COVID period stretched for over 3-4 months, and people were saying till now, people are still selling. But we've already made our profits, our returns, and left into other ventures. So the point I'm trying to make is this: there are 1,000,001 things you can catch the wave before the wave goes round. It's just about you being intuitive and being in tune with your grab. So this is just a short podcast I wanted to do about how we made 23 million in 8 weeks during the COVID, with just little ideas that came and a risk that we chose to take. Life is about risk. If you don't take risk, you might never smell that. Take those chances. Travel. Start that business. Do that course. Do that exam. Marry that person. Once the worst will happen, like I always say, you've learned. So, using this my sanitizer and face mask experience, I wasn't even afraid. My friend was saying, why would you invest so much money and time on something that I said, I said, well, if it doesn't work, I learn. So that was how it has always been. Even my other business that I do, and the next business I'm going to talk about that I do, which is one of my core businesses, in my next week episode, that gives us about 50 million naira a year, and this is just our first year. And our projection, we're projecting to see if it can give us 150 million in 12 months' time per annum. And we'll share it. It's something I can share with you. I'll tell you about it. You've heard about it as well. So, and we are grateful to take it. I will never stop taking chances. Take those chances and watch your life change. Don't let anybody discourage you from taking that thing that you believe in. Take it. And subsequently, we're going to share some of our failures. I mentioned FMCG. FMCG, we didn't fail, but there was so much debt. We supplied the people. When we started sanitizer, even up to last year, we were still supplying sanitizer inside our Kobo. The challenge we had was that you supply them market, and you supply them. We were doing spray starch, liquid soap, hand wash, car wash, air freshener, and all that. And we built a brand. But we found out that the supermarket, they take your product and they ask you to come back a week later. You come back a week later. There's something called SOR, sales on return. So it's what they sell, they pay for. So it wasn't profitable for us as a business. As a young man coming up, you can do it. But for us that are scaling big, we are looking for bigger income and more push. So it's either we are scaling it massively, like the Procter & Gamble and Co. And those ones have built their names, so they can't even afford to hold them. But with the owing us, we took it to, okay, we said we're not going to supply supermarkets. So what do? We started taking it down to Akpobo, where people come from all over the country. People come from Kano, Enugu, Kaduna, Calabar, Uyo, everywhere to come and buy. So these are people that are general suppliers. And we're doing some good numbers, but it wasn't encouraging for us because you drop the product and they tell you come back 2 weeks, a product of maybe 100,000, and you get there in 2 weeks time, if you can't see your product has been sold, and they tell you, hey, it's in our warehouse, hold this 20,000 naira, and you kept coming back. So it wasn't. So I'm not afraid to say yes. Maybe you want to say I failed in that, but I just had to cut my losses. That's another thing about business. Sometimes you cut your losses. You cut your losses and say, okay, no, even though it's doing well, the traction is not good enough for your time. It is not good enough for your time, and you move into something else. So that's just what I wanted to share about how we made 23 million in 9 weeks during COVID through sanitizer and the rest. So, but the essence of the whole journey is risk. Risks make success. Thank you. My name is Samuel. Thank you, and thank you for being with us on this journey. Like I said, we're going to be sharing business journey. Maybe the next one might be health and fitness and all that. Thank you. Have a beautiful day.